I'm sure this is gonna be a lot of fun. I know how much you two loved. Okay, you have the floor is yours, Chuck. Go ahead. Or not. Frozen.
Is he froze?
Jesus Christ. Every time.
No, it's because it doesn't want me to read all of this information. Okay. Here we go.
Come on.
I thought he did it on purpose that time.
Nope, I don't think he did.
Brothers, sisters, gender resistors. Okay, maybe it'll stop. Maybe it'll catch up. Okay.
There we go.
Hello? Okay. No?
Yes.
Okay, now...
God, your internet sucks, Chuck. Jesus Christ. I got to introduce the show at one
Joe's
point.
Frozen? Okay. No. Okay. All right. Know what to do. No? Davey?
What you got?
Okay. I don't know because it won't let me actually talk. Every time I start talking, okay. Brothers, sisters, gender resistors, thanks for coming together today. We're here. We need to talk about something that has been weighing on all of us for a long time. And that's Joey movie selection for this podcast. Pause to look at group. I'm now looking at the group.
Okay. Yeah.
Joe, appreciate your enthusiasm and commitment to picking films for us to discuss. However, I think it's important for us to express how some of your choices have been affecting our enjoyment of this podcast and our friendship. Turn to Joe. Okay. I'm going to turn to Joe.
Okay. Yeah. I'm here.
You're just looking at all of us again.
We've had some truly painful movies lately, and it feels like that we've been subjected to a series of questionable films that have left us more confused and frustrated and pained. Share specific examples without being too harsh. I would say this film, Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. Remember that one movie with that plot twist that made no sense? Like Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. Or that one where the special effects looked like they were from the 80s, like Star Trek II: Wrath of Khan.
First off, those do not look like they were from the 80s. They look like they were from the 60s. But anyways, continue.
Listen, that's what the chat bot wrote for me, all right? We have...
Makes sense.
We love to have a good laugh, but we're starting to feel like we're
should have known better than think Chuck would write his own shit.
For this, you are very correct. Encourage others to share. Would anyone else like to share any of their experience, real quick? This would be your time. Frozen again.
No, you're not frozen.
Okay. We got you. We got you.
No, we were just listening.
Oh, I'm not. Oh, okay. Just everyone else for a second. Okay.
Ron, would you like to share your experience with the show so far?
Oh no, I'll wait till we're all talking so I don't go through all my notes too quick.
Okay.
Okay. Back. Share. Now it's me. I want to open the floor to everyone. How do you feel about this current movie choices? Whether it's their opinion, and then after being done sharing, bring it back to Joe. I'm gonna move on from that.
Blank Man was fun.
Joe, we want you to know that we care about you and your podcast, and we are not trying to criticize you personally. We want you to enjoy this experience together. Now I need to propose a solution.
Okay.
How about we collaborate on movie selections moving forward? We can create a list of genres or themes that we'd like to explore, and that way everyone gets a say, and we can all avoid this more "what were we thinking" moments. Close. Now I'm frozen again. Great.
No, you're not frozen.
Now I'm back. Okay, now I'm back. I'm gonna. Oh, okay, good. It just keeps doing it. Okay, I'm closing the curve. We really value our time together, and I want to make our podcast a fun experience for everyone. Thanks for listening, Joe. We're all in this together. Hey, we watched Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
That manifesto.
I'm going to be totally honest with you.
Post any other time.
I'm going to be totally honest with you. I'm concerned about your mental health. And
now you are
affecting us. That being said, I hate this as much as the first one. Granted, really low. did take notes, and I'm going to do it before my internet fully crashes. And it's pretty much one thing. And I wrote, this era of Star Trek is what the right center political think diversity is.
I mean, you're not wrong.
That is my. And then I also wrote, Luigi Congione did nothing in this movie. That's all I wrote for my notes. Okay, I'm done. Everybody else can have the floor now.
Chuck, thank you. That was pretty great. Hopefully you're hearing that.
I am genuinely interested to hear from Trekkies on this, because I actually didn't really hate this movie all that much, but it really opened my eyes to understanding where the fandom came from and why it thought the way it did watching this movie.
Well, and that's honestly kind of why I brought Chris on. Chris has been a Star Trek fan for majority of his life. Yet for those who are listening just to audio, I'm Joe. We've got Ron here. Chuck just read a 6-minute manifesto that was actually a 3-minute manifesto, but his internet kept crashing. And with us is Chris Balga from Marvel Alliance. So, Chris,
would you call yourself a Trekkie?
I would. I wouldn't necessarily say like I can't quote chapter and verse like some other people, but I would put myself in the Trekkie.
You're not gonna throw like full Klingon at us, and okay.
I have nothing against those people. It's just I have other things
Chris,
that I can
you have a wife and family.
Hey!
Wow!
Hey!
Shots were fired.
You curious?
I am curious. Is this era, like the Kirk era, where you would say your fandom lies, or are we talking like Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, like whatever era? What specific era of Trekkie are you?
I think the first time I ever saw like a Trek period was like Undiscovered Country. So we've got a number of films, and then I became more Next Generation, and then was like movie original cast, and then started dabbling both. But yeah, I would say Next Generation onwards was where my Trek fandom began, and movies got me into the original series. So
yeah, our generation, like people around our age, late 30s, early 40s, Next Generation was their Star Trek. That's the Star Trek we all watched, we all grew up with. Me personally, I've only ever seen the movies. I've never seen I've seen bits and pieces of the shows. I've seen episodes here and there, but I've never seen a full season. I've never seen like all the original series or all Next Generation. But I grew up with these movies. I said in the last episode we covered Star Trek. My dad was a Trekkie. He grew up with the original series. He would watch these, put these on all the time. When he was in the hospital 2 Decembers ago, like he watched all 6 of these movies, and I was, with him in there watching them. He loves Star Trek, and so I grew up with Star Trek around. And like I said, just the movies. This movie, in particular, The Wrath of Khan, was one of the better ones. And I know this is one of the ones that you ask any Star Trek fan, any Trekkie, this is one they're going to cite as being the best of the original 6 movies. Now,
oh shit, this was the best? We're going to go downhill again from this?
It fluctuates.
There's this theory that the quote-unquote even ones are the better ones of the original series, while the odds are like,
It's not a bad theory, because 4 is decent and 6 is good.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, First Contact was fine. No, not First Contact. Generations was fine. First Contact was good.
Yeah. First Contact was awesome.
I put Undiscovered Country above this.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. The hell happened there?
So
can't tell if that was the internet or him shaking his head.
You went very not Cenobite, but like with Silent Hill, fast moving head. That was kind of weird. Awesome. For those who are not watching yes, there we go. For those not watching the video, go check out the video, because I don't edit those very much.
Wait, you edit the videos?
Sometimes it's a lot of work. Anyway,
so Kirstie Alley was a choice for somebody in this, I guess.
Mhm.
What's interesting? So this I didn't check first time I watched it. Last couple times I watched it, never really registered. But they kept calling her Mr. Savick. You know, her
That's
name
because it's it's because it's a she was acting captain, so captains are always he's. In case you didn't know that.
Yeah,
but they're not. Oh, there goes Chuck.
Yeah,
but they're not though.
It's a military thing. It doesn't matter if it's gender or
Oh,
anything like
really?
that.
Okay.
It's,
Yeah.
Did
So
not know that.
it's a common question at that point, but it's a military thing.
I really just thought it was their first, like, I mean, because the show itself was always progressive in their casting choices. I thought it was another progressive choice of that character being trans, honestly. But I mean, didn't take anything away. So, but also, what's interesting is I remembered Kirstie Alley from this movie, but then no other movies. And turns out the character itself is actually in 5 and 6?
Nope, it's in 3, and then we never see her again.
Okay.
Yeah, 3, maybe a little bit of 4. Yeah, 3
Okay.
and 4 she's in. Yeah, but it's a recasting. We get a new actress.
Ah.
There he is on his phone. That a boy.
Yeah, I had to switch.
That's fair.
I don't know what's going on. Anyway, give me a second. Hold on.
Are you good?
You keep talking.
Okay.
Well, okay, so like I mean, Kirstie Alley, like Look Who's Talking movies, and other things. I don't remember, but
Cheers?
like, yeah, that's what it was. Yeah,
But
that's
role, but
yeah, but that's the only thing that like I don't know. It was weird. I don't know. Seeing her in this movie was just kind of weird, and I don't think she's all that great of an actor. So
she wasn't bad. Like her character wasn't. I'm not gonna say her character was written poorly, but she's a Vulcan, so she can't really show emotion.
But she was all the time.
Yeah, she kind of was.
She always looked like she was crying.
Well, at the end, she did cry.
So human.
I think he's frozen again. Yeah. So one thing that we start out with is that she's acting captain. She's trying to do the Kobayashi Maru test, and I knew that was a famous test. I figured that was something from the show, and I know when we get into the Abrams reboot era, it's a whole big thing. I didn't realize that it was in this movie, and then I also didn't realize that Kirk was actually going to say how he beat the test.
Oh, you mean he cheated? He just blatantly cheats? Yeah, okay. So let it be known real quick that my hatred for Kirk is very real. And it's based solely off the Kobayashi Maru. Because the whole point, if I'm not mistaken, of the Kobayashi Maru is to teach you humility as a captain and understand that like your actions will have consequences. Mm-hmm. And like the whole idea is that he overrides the program, right? And he then can cheat, so he's successful.
Yeah, because my actions have no consequences, like Biblo children, or
Anyway,
fuck that guy. Fuck him.
No, that's the problem. That's how she got the kid.
Learn a fucking lesson, you twat. Like I don't know. Okay, I'm muting.
He did in the end when Spock died. He learned a lesson.
It's almost even better. And I'm not an apologist. I actually like Into Darkness from Abrams. I think I really do enjoy it. And everyone else that hates it, that's fine. But I think at least Chris Pine's version of Kirk for the Kobayashi by the end of it seems like he actually learns exactly what humility is. Where it doesn't show throughout the rest of the movies that Kirk ever really truly knows humility.
Yeah, I agree. And those were like I also enjoyed the newer ones. Guys, you need to go watch the video if you're not.
Chuck, has your camera been drinking?
No, but someone's going to throw up. Keep watching it.
That's wonderful. There it is.
Also, that's another thing. How did Kirk ever make Admiral? Like, who thought it was a good idea to make Kirk an admiral in charge of,
Go watch the original series. Maybe that's
no. Thanks though.
Because he was an admiral in the first movie.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't really think about it in that one because he went back to being a captain.
Correct.
But like him being an admiral in the first place, like who the fuck thought let's take James T. Kirk, thank you, and give him more authority than he had with one ship.
Well, because probably he did too much crazy stuff with the other ship. They'd say, okay, let's give him a desk job. He can't do too much damage that way. He can just deal with trainees.
And yet somehow he still makes his way
That's
back
another
to the
thing.
Enterprise.
Who would have this guy training people? All right, so when you land on the planet, make sure you fuck anything that has a hole.
It's almost makes as much sense as putting Maverick in charge of Top Gun.
Yeah. Yes. I haven't seen that movie.
We can't hear you, Chuck. That's what I'm trying to get at. We don't hear you.
We can now
try
see you better.
using a microphone.
Nope, off. Nope.
Have you put it in an adapter yet?
I got.
This is gonna have a fun.
Is your microphone on?
Oh, Chuck, I'm so sorry, buddy.
You broke Chuck with the movie and this.
We can't. You need your phone for the manifesto.
My whole point that I was screaming about, which is like kind of brings my point to like this is like what diversity to people center and right center is. He has everybody tricked that he's a good captain because he's just always been fucking successful because of everybody else on his crew that has like carried his ass, who blindly follow him for no reason in this movie when he's actively making poor decisions and then being.
You mean like not putting his shields up?
Yeah, but then like when they're like, "Hey, we should probably do this," he then says, "Okay, so we're gonna do this," like it's his plan, like. As somebody who works with a lot of narcissists, constantly having to convince them that it's their plan so you can do the right thing is fucking exhausting, and I don't know how there hasn't been a mutiny ever on any of his ships. I just don't get it. But yeah, as per usual, there's a ton of diversity, but a bunch of old white men are in charge of everything.
That's thanks to a lot of things.
Yeah, like this is just accurate. Nothing ever changes in the future.
You want to get crazy? Actually, read what Gene Roddenberry wanted to do for this second movie. That's freaking wild. And they said they put him in another office. Like, go, Gene. We're not letting you touch this. We're gonna.
What did they want to do?
I'd have to
okay. I never quickly remember.
I can't quote it. There was someone else that I recently listened to something, and for the first time in a while, I'd heard it. I was like, oh my god, I know some people have besides Chuck, some Trekkies actually have a real problem with this movie because it takes away. This is where they start going more militaristic with Star Trek, with the uniforms and the thing. Like some people in Trek fandom, it's not as hot take as it. They just don't like this movie because this is where they felt Trek went militaristic.
I really always thought everybody loved this movie, but
they also they tried so hard to make everybody so sophisticated in this movie, but it doesn't work when you're trying to make William Shatner sound sophisticated.
Well, they also broke their own canon with it too. When Khan meets. Like, for the first time we see Khan on screen and he sees Chekhov, he says, "I'll never forget a face. I remember you." Chekhov wasn't in there. Chekhov wasn't in that episode.
Oh, interesting.
He was not on the show at that point.
Interesting. Really? I really thought Chekhov was there from the get-go.
Nope. He was not in that episode of Space Seed. He was not. So that's like, okay, we're just making stuff up now.
Well, maybe when he was walking through the Enterprise, he saw Chekhov's picture hanging on the wall.
That's what some people had cannoned their way through, but I was like, no, you screwed up. Just admit it.
Okay, interesting. I do know that those bugs that they used on Terrell and Chekhov, they grew really big the minute that they were exposed to air, which was very interesting. Because like when you see them, they were just tiny little like slugs almost. But then when they're in the helmet, they've got the giant like pincher teeth that then burrow in. And I thought it was actually
how's that go again?
Pincher teeth. I thought it actually like went into the ear and then like into the head, but no, like they burrow
through it,
just behind that. What's that called? I can't remember what it's called. That piece.
Your mandible. Oh. But here's the real question: if they grew to be that big inside of their brain, how did it not kill them?
Well, it was going to. Eventually, it would have.
protagonist.
That
That's
too.
why.
But no, eventually, plot device. Eventually, it would have killed them had it grown fully. You could assume that it been.
So how did the one in
like
Jack
12
Off
hours?
just come out?
Because he resisted it.
Plot.
Yeah.
But no, I got the same question because Tyrell resisted it to shoot Kirk, and so did Chekhov apparently. Not Tyrell. But then killed himself, and then after that, the bug was just like, "Okay, I'm gone," and
Peace
pops
out.
out. So it was weird. It was
Also,
fun.
why did the bugs give Khan the ability to brain manipulate people?
I think it's anybody could have been.
Yeah, I would say it would be anyone just because he just said make him. But that's all we ever see is him talking to them. Like, no.
Yeah.
So.
And
Nobody else.
Another thing is, how did both Chekhov and Tyrell? How is it not obvious to everybody that they were plants?
Because they were the only ones alive. Yeah, who knows?
Right? Like, oh yeah, we stuffed ourselves into this cabinet and made it alive. Our whole crew is, left on a planet, but we're here.
Pretty sure they're dead, but
or what was it when Chekhov's talking to Carol Marcus and telling him, "Oh yeah, it's everything checks out. He looks like he's a freaking psychopath at that point." And he pauses, and you can almost hear Khan whispering in his ear, saying, "Oh, the person who authorized this was Admiral James T. Kirk."
Yeah, and the smile he had the entire time as he's talking, yeah, total psychopath there. But I mean, Carol and company didn't really know Chekhov that well, so they couldn't read it. We know who Carol did know. What?
I think the biggest problem with these worms was the fact that Reba McEntire wasn't there with the shotgun, because they look like the worms from Tremors. In fact, I wasn't totally sure that they weren't the worms from Tremors.
That was an elephant rifle, man. Oh,
that's true. That's actually a good point.
The biggest problem with this movie, Regala, where they were at, was a completely lifeless planet. Why were they looking for a lifeless planet if they already had a lifeless planet that they tested it on?
The planet, no. That wasn't lifeless, though. Like, it created life in the middle. And
No.
the Genesis would have destroyed all that to create it again.
No. They used that Genesis to create the stuff in the middle.
Yes.
They said that at the end of the movie. But when they are going to Regala, Kirstie Alley's character is like, Regala is a completely lifeless planet. Why would it be showing life signs inside the planet? She literally says that.
She does.
Because they didn't know that it was there? I don't think they knew, because...
No. But what I'm saying is, they were looking for a planet to use Genesis on that was completely lifeless.
They weren't.
Right?
They weren't.
Yeah, that's what they were looking for.
That's why they ended up on Alpha Prime or whatever the fuck it was. Alpha Centauri 7, 6, 3, 5, 4, whichever one they ended up on. But that's what they were looking for, was a lifeless planet. And
Chris Savek, you sure you don't mean Carol? What?
Carol's the doctor that worked on Genesis.
Yes.
No. When they were flying to Genesis, to Regula, when they were flying to Regula, and they were looking for them because they were like, where's everybody? We're not reading any life signs. And they're like, well, we're getting life signs from the planet, but the planet is completely lifeless, is what she says. Regula is a planet that is completely lifeless. Well, so why would we be picking up life signs in the middle of the planet?
She's also by the book, and the book probably said it was lifeless. And now they're reading life forms in there.
Because they used Genesis on it, Joey. The whole movie was
what I'm getting at.
Them finding Khan. The plot device for them to find Khan was absolutely pointless, is all I'm saying.
I got nothing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I don't know. I don't know what's that, because I'm the way I took it is that yes, Regala was lifeless until they started seeding Genesis in there to test it. Phase 2, like Kirk said, when was inside the planet, and that's why when they went inside the planet, transported inside the planet, they found a budding world with the, you know, Carol and David and the no name that got killed. Like everybody, because then the phase 3, the actual missile, the actual bomb, would, like what we saw when it got blown up on Reliant, it
Titan AE.
Well, yeah, basically. I don't know. Like
I do have a note here that says
no
Titan
argument
AE
there.
did it better, but
you're not wrong. But they also probably saw this and was like, we could do this better.
we could do this better.
There you go.
Oh.
I do have a comment in here about how Carol's broadcast was as reliable as Chuck's internet.
You ain't wrong. I mean, look at us, you know?
Yeah. Also, so when Khan in the Reliant attacks the Enterprise for the first time, and everything's blowing up, it was fun to see every man for himself. Like when the engine room started to go up, and everybody's just pushing everybody else out of the way.
Except for that one guy that went back to pull the guy out from underneath the door before it shut.
Well, yeah, that was.
But during that scene,
Scotty.
Why did Scotty drag that body up to the fucking command deck and not sick bay?
That was very curious myself. Yes, and that kid, the one that he saved, I'm gonna use air quotes because he ends up dying. That's the one kid that Kirk talks to when he first comes on board, and you know
That way it hits Kurt, you know, the fields.
This is why you don't talk to anybody unless you're a main character, because you will die.
And before the old adage on the show was like, at least on the original series, if you wore a red shirt, you're going to die.
Yes. Which ironically, I talked about this on the last episode, last time we talked. If I remember correctly, yellow shirts actually died more than red shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of fun. I know that's just been the Star Wars.
That's how
Star
Kirk
Trek
stayed
deal.
alive all this time. He just put other people in front of him.
That tracks actually, because Kirk is kind of an asshole, especially when he 100% an asshole. Like he gets on the Enterprise and it's like I don't recognize anybody. Like,
Oh God, Chuck, are you okay?
I hate my life. I hate this, and I hate my life.
You're good, man.
Oh my God, these wires are so rash fucked over here. I give up. I'm done.
Poor guy.
Anyway,
Then we do have a meme in here with the Khan.
Yeah.
So make sure that's on the bingo.
Oh, don't worry, I got the meme origin in the notes. But so back to when they are on Regula, and like Chekhov and Terrell are like, yeah, so now you have the exact coordinates of where Genesis is, so you can beam it up, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Before he beams it up, after they shoot themselves and take care of it, why didn't somebody just go grab Genesis and move it 5 feet to the left?
It is a giant missile. Like, you could have probably moved the...
They moved it down into the planet, right?
By transport, yeah.
Sure, and you think they just left it where they transported it at? No,
Yes,
then it would have been
do.
right where... Then it would have been right where Kirk and everybody else ended up when they teleported.
Yeah,
So they had to have moved it. All right, so it can be moved.
Well,
so after they heard him say...
You know why they didn't move it? Because
plot device.
Well, but the strong man that moved it was killed by Terrell. That's why.
That's how you can solve all the things. They were either dead or, you know, they forgot.
Yeah. I mean, David is Kirk's son. You know he's weak as fuck.
I don't know. Yeah, he did get the shit beat out of him by Kirk, so...
I love.
Could you imagine getting the shit kicked out of you by a 50-year-old man?
But you gotta love it. I laugh every time I see Kirk fight because it's the most awkward thing you can ever do. David has more coordination with a fight than his own dad does.
Yeah, that's really gonna come in handy in the next movie. Just saying. Anyway, I kept thinking it was this movie. I'm like, oh wait, that's not this movie. We'll get to it.
So, as far as space battles go, this was probably the most disappointing space battle I have ever seen.
I mean,
It definitely wasn't a lot of action. You just were flying blind and shooting blind. And blind luck.
Yeah, and they have terrible special effects for the space everything.
It's 82.
Huh?
It's 82.
When did Star Wars come out?
83.
No.
When did the original Star Wars come out?
Oh, the original Star Wars. Not bad. Okay.
I was like, wait, no.
Where they had like a whole entire space battles.
Yes, but Roddenberry is too proud to ask Lucas for help. We'll go with that.
For help? What are you talking about? He could have just stole the idea and been like, "Oh yeah, what if we just film cameras inside on our tiny little." Instead, they were like, "Here, this one's on a string, and this one's on a string. Pew pew pew, laser."
You know what? It's still fun.
Pew pew.
Still fun. No, you're not wrong though. The space battle is not great. And I feel like we get better ones down the road. Like obviously, when we get to the Abrams one, they're more exciting. But that's also special effects are in up to date now. But I feel like the Generation movies were good as well.
They do, but if you catch it, watch how in the next one you get. Well, when you get a explosion of a bird of prey, like the New Wave one, they'll reuse that sequence a few times.
Yeah.
It's fairly obvious and bad.
Like watching cartoons from the 50s. Oh.
Yeah. It was interesting though, like even before like internet back then at that point, people had already started hearing rumors that Spock was going to die. And so in order to throw them off, that's why they killed him off in the Kobayashi Maru to throw them off. Oh, okay, that's what they meant, he was going to die.
Interesting.
But
okay.
Nimoy he really wanted to be done with the character. He was actually happy.
I don't blame him
with it because he wrote a whole book called "I Am Not Spock," and yet later on, I actually read his other book, like "I Am Spock," but he talks about how much he just wanted to be done and move on with the character. So he was actually glad at the end of it, and then realizing, oh, well, maybe I do actually need this character because it pays the bills.
Mm-hmm. Which I know. I mean, he's not the first actor to hate being typecast. Like that's been going on forever.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like actors nowadays have had a better chance of busting out of that mold. Like
like Seth Rogen.
I mean,
that's sarcasm, Joey. They still typecast people all the damn time.
Well, they do, but depending on your acting prowess and how many movies you can get into, like you can.
What else did Nimoy play in though?
He did a lot of theater.
Yeah.
He did.
He did a lot of directing. He actually did the 3 Men and a Baby, and he
did he really?
Star Trek. He did Star Trek 4.
Yes. Yeah. So it's because like my first one I think of is Tom Welling. Tom Welling, after Smallville ended, he didn't want to be associated with the character, and now he's at the point where it's like, okay, you know what? I appreciate the time. I appreciate what I did. Also, it pays some royalty checks, and conventions are really awesome for those checks.
For the checks, yeah. Oh.
For the checks. Not much for the fans, but for the checks.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So it's hit or miss because then you get somebody like Harrison Ford. When you hear him, you think Indiana Jones, you think Han Solo, but like he's done a shit ton of other movies. Like he was Jack Ryan. Was that? Yeah. So like he's been other characters.
Jack Ryan's the first guy you go with of his other characters
for franchises. Yes.
Wild. Okay.
Well, what's the first one you go to, Chuck?
Air Force One.
One movie.
It's still a franchise.
It's what? No, I mean, I guess you could say, yeah, Air Force 1 to Captain America, Brave New World.
Yeah. You're welcome.
It's not, but okay. Anyway, yeah. The last
also,
thing
Air Force 1 was the only other movie I could think of that Harrison Ford's ever been in. So
see,
The Witness,
Guarding Henry.
Is he in A Few Good Men?
No.
No.
What Lies Beneath? Great horror movie.
Nice.
Oh, I did like that. Is he in Frequency?
No, that's
No.
Randy Quaid.
Presumed Innocent?
I think that's Dennis Quaid.
Thank you, Dennis Quaid.
Pretty sure Randy Quaid. Yeah.
My bad.
Okay, that's good.
My last note I have is "fuck you, kid, out of my way." When Spock is dying and he literally pushes the kid like away from the stairs, so he can or the ladder, so he can rush down there.
It's my scene.
Basically, yeah.
Also, so with these ships, were the computers the only way they could possibly aim these guns? Is that why they were having such a hard time shooting? Is because nobody knew how to aim the lasers outside of
a computer? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. And it's the 23rd century, so they rely on computers more than we do, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah. And remember, there's no money. There's no money in this future either. So
Yeah.
Ooh, another important thing: how did Khan know how to activate Genesis? Kirk never sent him over.
That's a good question. Yeah.
Kirk never sent him over any of the information.
They just more like say, "Oh, he's really smart," because you notice how many times they say that he's really smart. He could figure this out. He's really smart. Like they just keep on like throwing that out there, saying, "All right, I guess he's really smart."
Yeah.
And yet he got beat by Kirk twice.
Yep.
Yep. Yes, he did.
So how smart can he actually be?
I know.
I mean,
did anyone ever figure out, get those people from the marooned people on Reliant that were marooned on that city? Did we ever get any answers on that one?
Again, I don't think they were marooned because
they said
all of Khan's men had all of the shirts. Just saying, I'm pretty sure they.
So wait, you're telling me there's a bunch of naked people left on the planet?
That's possible too.
They're all dead by those pinchy things.
Yeah, pinchy.
It wasn't us.
It was the pinchy creatures.
I did like the line, "Are you out of your Vulcan mind?" That was pretty funny.
Bones is great.
No, I love that in the next movie, he's got a better line.
There's one line where McCoy is getting aggravated when they're talking about what Genesis is, and Spock like says something of just like making a point, and he's
Very
just
logical.
like, yeah, like logical, and like McCoy's just like, listen here, you green-blooded, like he was about to get real racist, like real quick.
I love it. It's great.
Yeah. Okay.
That's why in the next one he says, "You green-blooded SOB." It's his revenge for all those arguments that he lost.
So I also feel like having Scotty playing the bagpipes was pretty stereotyping of a character. But more importantly, how in the the 28th century or whatever? 23rd century. How is Amazing Grace still the song that you play when somebody dies?
Because it's timeless.
Was Spock Christian? Like
maybe he was half human.
Religion is illogical to them.
Exactly.
Hence, when we get to the fifth movie,
I'm not looking forward to that one. That's the only Star Trek movie I've never finished. Every time when I was younger watching it, I always fell asleep. And from what I'm told, that was probably a good choice.
Yeah, well, you know who directed it, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
No, who directed it?
Shatner.
There's a fun joke in Futurama when they meet up with the crew of the Star Trek, where Spock is like talking to the whatever creature. I'm sorry, Leonard Nimoy is talking to whatever creature, because he's trying to direct a play, and he's like, you know what? When I was directing Star Trek 4, I respected my actors, and I got a great performance out of all of them. And then Shatner steps up and he's like, yeah, when I directed Star Trek 5, I respected myself. That's why I got a great performance on myself.
That movie's so bad.
I
should make you come back on for that, but I won't because I like it.
No. Wait, what's that say about the rest of us?
There it is.
So
I
had a Spock question because it just popped into my head.
Okay.
So there's a part where not Brooke Shields' character, because I thought she was Brooke Shields the entire time.
Christy Alley.
Christy Alley, thank you. There's a part where Christy Alley's character looks at Spock and goes, "You just lied." And we
we're Vulcan. We don't lie. And he goes, well, I exaggerated.
Is that a lie?
Yeah.
No, he just lied again. That's
I
fine.
know.
But again,
so is that were like people were Trekkies mad about that, or
No,
are we
because
just
he's half human.
Oh,
That's how he gets away with some stuff.
All the
His
bad stuff is his
emotions,
human
all
half.
the bad, yeah, that's what they always say. Is like, it's like I'm half human. Oh, well, that's how we get away with it.
Oh, I hate that. Okay.
Yeah, his mom's human. His dad's Vulcan.
Yep.
So
we'll see his dad in
so
6. I believe.
His dad vulked his mom.
So like species, would it be a species at this point that are crossing over?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's very diverse of them.
Maybe it's a different. Maybe it's considered breeds like dogs. You know, like all dogs are dogs, but like you've got wiener dogs and you've got like wolfhounds.
The technical term wiener dog. Yeah.
Dash hounds. Sorry,
it's frogs and toads.
You just
right?
lost 2 members of the audience that watches this.
People watch it?
Shit. Now we're down to what? -2 people.
Yeah, basically. I know Travis watched this.
Chris,
Hey,
you're
Travis,
looking at the 4 guys who are going to listen to this episode, okay?
Exactly.
Hey,
There's
that's
40
not true.
downloads. That doesn't mean 40 people listen to it.
I'll have you know, I have at least 3 people that listen to our show. Okay, so
that.
I look
love
forward to this when it drops in my feed. I'm not gonna lie.
We had more, but then we pissed off a network, so it's like.
Well, I don't think that really actually helped us anything. Like nothing got taken away. Like we may have actually gained somebody.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, well, we will see. Ron, you got any more notes?
William Shatner should probably just have stopped acting at this point. That's my last note.
Yeah, we got him for 5 more movies. So
is he still alive?
Yes.
Yeah, he's doing NCIS or Blue Bloods or something. He's on CBS, a CBS cop show.
You know more than I do. I just know he's still alive.
I only know that because on Instagram, every once in a while, a clip will go around on the reels where he is calling his fights. Like, he's like, what does it say? Like, left punch, right punch, kick. And he like kicks the guy in the knee. It's from a cop show. I know that much. But he actually is like calling his what he's about to throw out. So
that's because he memorized. That's because that's how he memorized his whole script. He had to memorize every word.
Probably.
And then he has to say every word so that he gets it right. Lean down on coffee table and look smug.
Yeah.
There's something on the wing. Something.
That's classic. But okay. Well, I guess that brings us to our kill count. Got a total of 17.
Oh.
Even though, obviously because of the Alderaan rule, there at the end it should have been a lot higher, but 1 blast and 1 kill. So
that's right.
Yeah.
The Alderaan rule.
Blame these 2. All right.
That's a rule. It's just a rule. We didn't make up that rule. It just exists.
I would have thought you wanted to see the death count as high as you could possibly do.
No, we have to make it fair. Look, it's not even technically an Alderaan rule. It's actually from Lord of the Rings, and that's how they made it balanced.
Exactly.
So, because otherwise, then the elephant is only 1 kill. It has to only be 1 kill. Otherwise, Legolas was cheating the whole time. So, and I refuse to let it.
Well, he was cheating. So.
Yeah, I'm not letting
just like Kirk.
Exactly. Well, yeah, actually, maybe for this time you do have to change it because he would just override the program anyway. So
that's true.
And save everybody. Ron, bingo.
Do we have any lost limbs?
No, because I wasn't looking for that.
That's fair. All right, so we have dying mentor, responsibility thing, government interference, comic logic, origin reveal. Betrayal by a friend, animal cruelty, villain monologue, unexplainable science, hero kills, talking trope, fight for control of something, and meme origin.
Oh, not bad. 13. All right. Chuck, what you got for the Spawn Cave?
Look, this was... It looked a little better than the first one. I don't think it still looked great.
And I think Ron is right that space battle looked real bad.
Yeah.
Even the special effects, like when they're in the Kobayashi Maru and the explosions are going everywhere, looked like a Power Rangers explosion. But if the Americans had done it, not the Japanese, cut.
That's fair. Yes.
Yeah, it looked real not great. I'm gonna say 4 out of 32 spawn capes.
Okay.
Regularly close. Man, I can't wait for Spawn to get here.
Well, you gotta also remember that this didn't even look good for its time, so that makes sense.
Definitely looked better than the last movie.
Yeah.
That's a very low bar to set.
I know, but it's
I will say this. It did score a little bit better because they didn't have 45 minutes of floating ships for no reason.
I will say this. Look up other movies that James Horner scores. You will hear this music in other of his pieces. He will use some of the stuff. Like, I can't remember. I wish I could quote something, but one time I was listening to music. And said, why do I hear Wrath of Khan with this? And I looked up, oh, God, it's James Horner who scores it. He's reusing his old stuff.
Which I know is not unheard of, but
no, it's not.
Definitely tweak it enough so it's not, apparent. But, oh well. You're supposed to.
Okay, so our quote out of context was prepare for docking.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you do that.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yes.
Ron keeps just making new segments for himself.
I know, I was about to say, when did that come?
That was something, like 3 movies ago, 2 movies ago?
At least 3 or 4. But it's only if they have something that's really could be perverted if it was, taken out of context.
Yeah, that's fair. Not a Muppet. I went to. Oh yeah, so I don't know, Chris, if you heard the episode where we start doing Not a Muppet. We pick out a person that's not a Muppet, and the rest of the movie is Muppets. I would like to make an argument for Carol not being a Muppet because that means she fucked a Muppet Kirk and had a Muppet baby with David.
See, on the other side of that, I wanted Kirk to be not a Muppet because we know that he would fuck a Muppet.
That is true. Very true.
But also because everybody else as a Muppet would still be a better actor than Kurt. So I think that would just be great.
Also not
like being upstaged by a bunch of people's hands. I mean,
fair.
There's a part of me that feels like if it is Kirk, then a lot of his inappropriate sexual assault would be better.
Exactly.
Because he is a Muppet. And we can laugh it off because it's a Muppet instead of just being genuinely concerned for every woman in the galaxy.
Okay.
Who just regularly comments about how somebody's hair looks different. Awkward as fuck in the elevator. Super awkward.
Well, especially since he looks at her tits and then says her hair looks different.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. He's like, oh, your hair looks different.
So he pulled what we call the Mark Zuckerberg.
There you go.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I watched.
So wait, Kirk's not a human either?
Well,
that is true.
No. Zuckerberg has wandering eyes during the inauguration, apparently.
Yeah.
That makes sense. My feeling when I was watching that was oh, William Shatner wrote this scene. Because otherwise, why would it have made it into the movie? It has no relevance. And then they even try to play it off like it's totally fine because then I think McCoy comes in, is like, did she change her hair? And
I didn't notice.
Yeah. And he's like, I didn't notice. Shut the fuck up. Anyway.
Chris, you have anybody you think would not be a Muppet?
Sulu. He's so much in the background you wouldn't know.
That's fair. Okay.
I also would suggest just the worms.
Oh.
That, you know what? That's also not a bad suggestion.
And so when they crawl out, just like stuffing, like cotton comes out of their ears instead. I do it for the bit. That'd be awesome.
Well, you could also reverse that to where those are Muppets, but like Chekhov or Terrell are not Muppets. And then a Muppet really
crawls
gets
out of
their
their
head.
ear.
That would be sweet.
Alrighty. We do the continuum scales later, don't we? I can't remember anymore.
Oh yes, the
Okay.
Janero continuum. Yes.
All right, so that goes with Chris. Out of 10, what do you give this movie?
I'd give it a 7.
Okay.
Ugh, rookie numbers.
Fine, 7.125. There you go.
There you go. There you go.
So I don't do it point. Okay. So point.
You do it to
13.
7.125, young man.
Have I? Damn it. I only round up to whatever. Anyway, Chuck, what you got?
All right, is this a Star Trek movie? I don't know, man.
It's the second one you've seen.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty on par with the first one. Is this something the Janero continuum? Would I show this at a holiday party to make fun of with my friends? No, I don't think I would realistically subject this to anybody. That being said, look, this movie is fine. It's a perfectly fine movie. I didn't hate it as nearly as much as the first one. I enjoyed the memes out of it. I still think Kirk is awful. I'm starting to like Spock a lot less now too. And I'm
good. He's dead. We don't have to worry about it.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm glad he's dead.
Not gonna tell what the next one is.
Listen, I know that there's like an evil version of him where he comes back with like a goatee or something, so I'm sure it's
That's
only
a
a matter of
show.
time. Oh, okay. Well,
Just a show.
Yeah.
What happens is he gets a symbiote from a outer space on him, and he becomes emo. And
that makes sense. Yeah.
That's the third movie.
I didn't love this. I'll never watch this again. I'm glad I finally got to see the memes. I'm disappointed that Khan's chest isn't real. It's a prosthetic, which really always bummed me out. And I only know that because of I Love the 80s when they do the review of this episode.
I will say a fun little side note is that Ricardo Montalban, Khan, it had been so long since he played this character from the show that because he was on Fantasy Island and he had that accent that he was using there, it took him a long time. Like it took him some time before he got the accent back, before he got back into character of Khan. Like he had to watch the episode he was in like multiple times.
Watch his own episode
to get back into character. So
I mean, hey, he did better than Shatner, so because at one point Shatner can't even remember his own cadence. So I don't know. 1.81.
Okay.
I think that's higher than what I gave the original Star Trek. I don't remember.
You gave 1.91 to the original.
Did I really?
Yes.
Yeah.
I stick with it. That's fine.
Because I had the lowest score of 1.11.
This is spoilers for you, Chris, because the episode hasn't come out yet.
That's fun.
So,
what you got?
This was hard to get through, but it was only 3 beers. And then I took a break, like right after I started it. And then I stopped to talk to Simon for a bit.
You took a break, went to Tennessee, came back. No, just kidding.
No, actually, I watched it earlier in the week. Because I was afraid that I wouldn't have time to do it if I waited any longer.
Fair.
But it was better than the first movie. But not by much. And it's still, I didn't like how, without watching the episode that Khan was in, you only get Chekhov's like 3-second, like, oh yeah, we dropped them off on this planet because they're bad thing. Which didn't give me a preface for why Khan would hate him so much, even with blaming him for everything bad that happened afterwards. Having said that, I gave this a 1.71 because while it was still better than the first one, it's still I'm not a big fan. Like I honestly I probably could not even make it through watching the original series, like show wise. And the movies haven't gotten much better.
They slowly get better.
I think the series
like when they get the Next Generation, or
yeah.
So I was thinking about that actually too, Ron. Like, could I make it through the original series of this?
No.
But I think you're right. But also, I think it's a little easier to digest because they're only 30-minute episodes, and there's a start and a finish to every single episode. You know what I mean? Like this thing's gonna happen, and it's gonna finish by the end of it.
Kirk starts flirting and then he finishes inside of her. Yep, got it.
Exactly.
That tracks,
So
yeah.
it makes like an easy digest because I can just watch 30 minutes of it and then like come back to it a week later or something like that. And also at the time that so my mom was a huge star. She was like at that
Your mom
time.
was a huge star? What was she in? I didn't see that.
She's a huge
froze.
Star Trek.
I know.
I was telling him that.
I lost my
Anyway.
train of thought. God damn it.
Good job, Ron.
But
I
she
just
was,
derailed that trade.
she had said for that time when this came out and she was young, she was like, there was nothing on television that was like this. So it was a lot easier to digest because it was something new and different. And she's a very casual person. Like she wasn't going to read sci-fi. So this was like the most exposure to sci-fi that she had ever had. So to her, this was a whole new, different universe. And that I can understand. In the lens of 2025, there's no fucking way I'm going to go back and rewatch this stuff. It's going to be hard for me to go back and rewatch like Next Generation. And that was like my mom's favorite version of Star Trek. So
And those are 45-minute episodes. You know, those are even longer.
rough.
Yeah.
She just really liked Picard. So
Sure, that's fair.
yeah, she thought he was
Joey?
hunky monkey.
Okay.
What's your take on this one there, Mr. Janero?
So I haven't hit this at all. I did enjoy this movie. I definitely enjoyed it more than the last one, and you know, I gave the last one like a 4 something. So,
4.03.
well, thank you. It doesn't have problems, yes. Like these early Star Trek movies, they have issues. I know when
it's just things like plot and character development.
Anyway, well, but that's the other thing though. Like, yes, you're correct. You should be able to have these character developments in these movies. These are supposed to be standalone movies. Although arguably 2, 3, and 4 are kind of a trilogy of itself. We'll get into it when we get into those movies. But because you had the show behind it, you got the character development there. And I agree, yes, without having watched the show, you should still be able to jump into these movies and understand what's going on. But it's hard. Sometimes you can't. And obviously, like, there is comics out there that would help build out some of this stuff. And there's novelizations out there that helps build out. But as we famously know, Chuck don't like to read, so those don't count. I still enjoy this movie. It has some nostalgia for me. When I was younger and seeing those worms enter into Chekhov and Terrell, like that stuck with me as a kid. It was one of those scenes where I'm like, oh man, this guy's really evil. This is really, really creepy. As I'm watching it today, I'm like, no, Khan's kind of justified in his actions. Like Kirk kind of fucked him over hard.
Sure, Kirk did, but Chekhov did, and Terrell didn't.
Yes, but Khan's going to use whatever means he can to go after Kirk. Like, he had every opportunity. His own first mate was like, look, we've got the Genesis Project. We can just leave. Like, we can just let Kirk get him some other time. And then Kirk, knowing that if he doesn't stop Khan now, he's going to come back and torture him later, dangles that carrot, and Khan, being the superior intellect, falls into the trap and ends up killing himself and the rest of his crew. Regardless, I still enjoy this movie. It's still one of my favorite Star Trek movies. I'd probably say midway, because again, we have the newer stuff, some of the Generation movies, and then the Abrams ones that I like a little bit better. But I'm going to give this one a 5.73. So I would watch this again. It'd be lower on my watch list, but it is over 5, which means I'll watch it again. With that, we get a combined score of 4.09, which drops it in at number 103 out of 137 movies. It is just behind Doctor Strange from 2007, the animated one, at a 4.23, and just above Alien 3 at a 4.06. Yeah.
I think I liked all of those movies better, but yeah.
Same. But but Chris's score also definitely boosted this one up way higher than it would have been.
Yeah, the ringer.
Also, I think Doctor
Otherwise-
Strange and Alien 3, we had 3 versus 4 here, so
Right, because otherwise this would be down your Catwoman for sure.
it would. Well, with my score, it would definitely bring it down to like weird science in the shadow, probably around there somewhere.
Oof. Yeah, I wouldn't watch either of those ever again either, so that tracks.
But anywhoozle. Yeah, so that's Star Trek 2, Wrath of Khan.
I'm sorry, Chris. I actually did like it a little bit better than I let on here, but also this movie was terrible.
What? Don't apologize for having an opinion.
Oh, I always apologize for my opinion.
He does.
Yeah, it's true.
It doesn't make him change his opinion, but he will apologize
it just makes
for
me
it.
feel better about it. That's all.
But alrighty. So that being said, Chris, thank you for coming on here and being tortured by these two. Where can they find you online if they want to find you?
It wasn't torture. I had a good laugh. A number of them. You can find me on all the socials at Chris Balga. You can check out my show that I co-host every Thursday night on the Geekverse Podcast YouTube channel, Marvel Alliance at 9:10 Eastern Standard Time every Thursday night, and you can search for it at Marvel Alliance on every podcatcher of choice, and then you can also catch me on Saturday afternoons at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Brave and the Boys channel looking at the Organic Price Books Buyer's Guide.
Very good. Chuck, where can they find you?
Hey, you can find me on the time of this records, who knows what I'm using anymore. But I am Kicked Out of the Hood, No Being Kicked on all social media platforms. Find me on Blue Sky. I'll probably just be there for the most part. So, and also you can find me on that thing we like to call the once a month show, Getting Franchised. It is now on the main feed.
Yes.
Because fuck capitalism. Woo. We're just releasing our art for free now. And also because the network doesn't pay us, as you can tell, because my internet blows. So go check out Getting Franchised. At time of this release, probably 2 episodes are now out. Yes. 2 episodes will be out. The Hellraiser and the Child's Play.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah. And so we are, and the boys are gearing up for a 3-for shot of My Bloody Valentine.
Rod,
So,
Rod's gonna join us, Chuck and I, for that one. That should be fun.
Yep.
That's gonna be weird.
It'll be something. So check me out. Getting Franchised. Kicked Out of the Hood, No Being Kicked on social media.
Ron?
All right. So obviously you can find me on this podcast. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Good at This Game. You can find my art on Instagram at Good Art This Game. You can also find my art. Hold on just a second, because I just got these in, and
the shirt.
I gotta say they turned out really well. Yeah. So we've got. Let's see. We got the Scab RoboCop. I don't know if you can. Yeah, we got that one.
Sweet. These are on the shop now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh hell.
They are hot and ready to roll, buddy. This one, Chuck, I think you'll particularly like. You might even say you find it perfectly fine.
I do like that one.
Sweet.
It did. That one showed up really well, but my favorite, if I can find it in here, because I am just happy with how the picture turned out for this one, even when it got blown up. And that would be
the Union
the
Buster
anti-union alien, the Union Buster Xenomorph.
All right, that did come out. That's pretty sweet.
That was good.
Right.
But
I'm looking forward because I got mine. Mine should be coming sometime this week. I'm looking forward to wearing that one to work. It's anti-union, and I'll definitely be getting questions about that one.
It's perfect. Yeah. It's perfect. But yeah, that's where you can find me. Joey, where can they find you?
Yeah, you guys can find the show on social media, Comic Book Rundown. I said it last time, all social media sucks, but I'm there because that's how you promote shows. You can email comicbookrundown@gmail.com. You can rate and review us on your podcasting app of choice. If you do, we'll read it on an upcoming episode. We've got merch and new merch, like Ron just showed, over on Redbubble and TeePublic. Well, really on TeePublic. I got to get rid of Redbubble.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Speaking of, this one was also in the same wash, and this one's a classic.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Joe Kill Murders the Waynes. Yes. Joe Cool. I said
Joe Cool.
Joe Cool. Yeah. And then our song was done by Father Doctor, formerly known as Cam, or Cam, formerly known as Father Doctor.
No, you got it right the first time. Father
I thought
Doctor,
we
formerly known as Cam.
Okay. Anywhoozle. But yeah, so like Chuck said, we also have Getting Franchise, which is coming out with second episodes up. Comic Book Rundown is back. Second episode of that should, in theory, be coming out the same day this airs. Don't ask me what I read because I don't know yet. And yeah, so the show's popping. We got shows coming out of the wazoo. I'm working too much.
Yeah.
Joey's gonna earn that vacation next year.
I'm trying to. Definitely trying to. So, that being said, our next movie we'll be covering will be... I'm waiting for anticipation. Time Cop.
I'm sorry, was that Time Cop?
Time Cop with what's his name? Van Damme.
Fuck yeah! You know
That'll be
what
our
I'm saying?
second
I love
John
this
Claude movie.
It is so bad, Joey. I don't know if you've seen Time Cop.
I've never seen it.
It is
I think I've only seen a little bit
going to ruin the show. By the way, you do get a fucking strike, motherfucker. So we are back to one strike because of this movie.
So are you saying that Time Cop's going to give 2 strikes, or am I going to get
potentially? See, here's the thing, though. As we all know, I love Van Damme unapologetically for a lot of terrible reasons. He also was doing copious amounts of cocaine on this shoot as well. So
I think we can just say that he does copious amounts of cocaine.
I was about to say, when doesn't he?
Yeah.
He did in Bloodsport.
Sober in the... Oh, really?
He was sober in Bloodsport.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, the thing that's called Bloodsport and he didn't do it? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
The one movie where he probably
That's because it wasn't called Blowsport.
Yeah, but...
I love it. So, anywhoozle. Yes, that's it. So thank you all for listening. Chris, again, thanks for coming on. And we'll catch you all next time.
Bye.
Wow.